rolling.
Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores brings you Garage Logic Podcast number 1041.
Damn.
March 22nd, 2023. 71 degrees on this day in 1945. 14 below on this day in 1888. And on this day,
March 22nd.
in 1952, 14 inches of snow.
And now, from the mayor's office of
That must have been an
Boathouse
old-fashioned
on the
winter.
East Shore
I think
of
so.
Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers, manning
Old-fashioned
Technology Corner, Kenny Olson
Right.
from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Heidt in the newsroom,
Back base.
and of course, the rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Souchere.
I'm looking at the records for the garage door opener. And the earliest one I see that we have is 2004. I don't think we've done a good job husbanding these records.
Do you have
taking
20
care of them?
Do you have 2012 by chance? That
I
warm?
do. That was March 16th.
Okay.
I was going to say, I thought it was right around St.
Friday,
Patrick's Day.
March
Yeah.
16th. The next day was St. Patrick's Day. That was that marvelous gift from nature in 2012 when we had about a week's worth of high 70s and 80s. Yes.
May I share very quickly? Joe texted me at about 9:30 this morning.
Yes.
Grab the openers because I said I had them in my possession. And I said, sure. Went to spot one where I thought they were. Couldn't find them. I had the flop sweat going so bad
God,
for
I'm
about
sure.
a half an hour. I thought he is going to kill me because I cannot find these anywhere.
Rook, your job is to find 2021 and 2022.
Well, I was going to say I can search on our website. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to do it quickly.
Let's just settle down. Just make a note to yourself. I don't want to hear about it. Find 2021 and 2022. I don't need them today, but I just note on this sheet of paper that we don't even have last year and the year before.
May 21st, 2021, the 2021 garage door opener.
Just a minute, I'll write that down. What was it? What May day?
May 21st, 2021.
Okay, then all we need is last year, which should be easy to find.
2022?
Just listen to a few podcasts back then.
Well, I have it labeled. That's why I just searched opener.
But that March 16th, according to these records, is not the earliest. It was
Really?
March 14th in 2014.
Wow.
March 14th in
In
2014.
fact, I remember this.
March 17th in 2015.
So Ben was
Yes.
14.
You had to do a ruling in 2021 because remember we had that bit of a controversy because we used to be on in the afternoons.
Yeah.
And so you said, well, it's going to, later in the day is when it's obviously warmer. So you were ruling if it actually happened on the day of the podcast or if it happened during the recording of the podcast.
What did I rule?
You ruled that if it happened on the day of the
Yeah,
podcast.
so May 21st, 2021.
Correct.
Boy, that's a late opener.
And that's, I think, why we had to do the ruling because we were on so much earlier in the day.
Okay. Never mind. We didn't open on. What does that say on the bottom of that yellow tab? Jeez.
3/14/14, we were off. 4/20/07, off.
Start over.
Right.
Rewind.
How about that?
Such, I remember that.
4/11/05, you were off.
I remember that year, Such, 14, because Ben and I went out to Wyoming snowmobiling the end of March. When we left, it was like 70 degrees. The grass was growing already. It was surreal.
Oh, do you want the bottom? 3415 University Avenue, St. Paul, Minnesota, 55114.
Not only do I remember 3/14 of 2014, both of you guys were gone. Kenny was gone. It was me and Coles. I was running the board and I had to do traffic. And I said, well, what are we going to do?
The opener for 2014 happens to be May 23rd, not what I said about March.
Oh. Well, I take back everything I said.
Same.
Oh boy.
Boy, it's a shame. I'm going to have to take the blame for it.
Yeah, it's your fault.
It is.
Definitely.
Does that mean I don't have to look up 2022 now?
Interestingly enough, when this moron dug up these records, wow, he also unearthed a document that we all were given on March 16th, 2020. And you'll recall this. We were given a document from the CISA, Integrated Operations Coordination Center, National Communications Coordination Branch of National Homeland Security. And it was the bearer of this letter is providing emergency communication sustainment and restoration support to critical communications infrastructure facilities in response to COVID-19 declaration of national emergency. You'll recall we were all given these sheets of paper to carry around in our cars.
I have it on my bulletin board, Joe. Yes.
And I know we must have had fun with it at the time of its issuing, making a poo-poo of it. But as you look at this now, what a chilling piece of paper.
I, at the time, fully expected to be pulled over on my way to work at 5 in the morning. And they're going to ask me, show me your papers.
Yes. It's from John O'Connor, who authored this, the Director of National Communications Coordination Branch, Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency, which is another indication that we have absolutely no idea how unimaginably big the government is. Right. We have no idea how many agencies and branches and bureaucracies they have. But this was a piece of paper, 8.5 by 11, that tells us that the bearer of this letter can be on the road.
I saved mine as well.
What in the God's name was that? I'm more chilled by it now than I was when we got it.
We just accepted it. Take this paper.
We didn't really have a choice.
Nope.
Well, I remember taking it very lightly. For example, I couldn't put my hands on this piece of paper. I probably threw it away. I remember taking it very lightly, and I also remember I never had to produce this piece of paper.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't either, but I remember being nervous at first because I left mine at home one day.
Yep, totally. I was. Mm-hmm.
Although, but you, during that time, though, Joe, you were doing the show from home, weren't you?
Not in 2020.
It came later, Chris.
Oh.
In 2021, I was because I was ill.
Well, after this, they came along and just put the equipment on our desk and said, go home. We don't want you here.
That's right.
And that's what led to me being up here.
And I'm not going to keep this, Chris. Do you want it back? Chris, do you want that back?
I made a copy so you could have one for
Maybe
yourself.
I will hang on to it. Isn't that
How come they let me come in? Me and Reavers come in.
I made you go sit in the other room, though, remember?
Get over there.
And it was good from March 16th, 2020 to May 28th, 2020.
Well, that was the whole...
And then
And
all
apparently
hell
the
broke
country
loose.
was under a declaration of national emergency.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And that's when George Floyd went down. Wasn't it Memorial Day weekend?
It was.
Yes, this paper would have expired before George Floyd went down.
Yep.
Holy mackerel. Speaking of flooding, we were talking about flooding, and I got a note from Helen, who said that she was at Stillwater High School in 1965, and they were all let out of school. The morticians all graduated with me in 1965, Helen notes, and they still play on occasion.
Yeah, they were all Stillwater. I did see that.
I'd love to see them. What is this now? Oh, we were talking about the morticians had the hearse, and I was wondering if subconsciously that's where I got the idea for the Freedom from Religion Fund group racing around in their 1959 Pontiac ambulance hearse.
I bet it was.
And I got a note from Pete Abler, who writes, my wheels in 1965. I had a 54 Pontiac straight 8 hearse ambulance, and my best friend had a 1952 Caddy hearse. Fun days cruising the cities. I remember those things. And might we have right now a moment of silence? Reavers, what are you doing? What are you doing with the computer?
Ad work for the show, sir.
A moment of silence for the massive fire that broke out at the John Deere dealership in Madison, Minnesota.
Yeah, Madtown, we call it. Yeah.
God knows
bad.
how many cylinders were lost. More than a dozen fire departments
Wow.
worked to battle a massive fire last night in far western Minnesota. The Lac-Qui-Parle County Emergency Management Team says the fire broke out about 7:45 p.m. at the John Deere Midwest Machine Implement Dealer in Madison. It took 3 hours to bring the fire under control, and the crews worked overnight. Local leaders are urging families to conserve water. A nearby lodge and inn opened its doors to evacuees, but residents were allowed to return to their homes just before midnight. God rest ye merry cylinders.
Have you ever been by that plant?
I've been in Madison,
It's
Minnesota. I'm unaware of the plant.
Massive,
It's not a plant. It was a store.
but it's huge.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet that's serviced a lot of the farmland out there, huh?
Midwest Machinery, pretty popular in Minnesota. They have locations all over the state. They're my guys up in Fergus Falls.
Oh, that's a chain, Kenny? I didn't even
Yep.
know that.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
The failed academy has uncovered a new way to be failed. Grand Valley State University, it's a school in Michigan.
Okay.
This is from Newsweek magazine. Grand Valley State University has come under fire from conservatives after hosting separate graduation ceremonies. They have separate graduation ceremonies for Black, Asian, Latino, Native American, and LGBTQ plus 1.
That doesn't sound inclusive, Joe.
That's in addition to the main graduation ceremony, for which you would think there wouldn't be many people left.
Right.
Huh.
Right.
The Michigan-based college said the annual cultural graduations are intended to recognize accomplishments in the spirit and traditions of our diverse identities and cultures. Because the one thing the failed academy is adamant about is wiping out what they would consider to be an American culture. In their estimation, there is no such
Well, yeah,
thing.
but they want everybody to be the same, yet they're celebrating their differences.
Separate graduation events for different communities have sprung up at a number of American universities. Supporters argue they showcase pride in an institution's diversity, while critics claim they are regressive, regressives, and unnecessarily divide students. Well, of course they do. Conservative commentator Matt Walsh, I don't know him, shared a copy of an email sent to this school in Michigan. They're known as the Lakers. It said Grand Valley is hosting 5 unique graduation celebrations designed to honor our diverse students. And it goes on to say who they're having. Walsh is a columnist for the Daily Wire. He branded the plans ridiculous, adding there will be no special celebrations for straight white people, of course. Some of these hardcore righties don't really get it.
No.
They don't really get what the problem is.
Walsh is a former radio talk show host for stations in Delaware and Kentucky. He's outspoken against the LBGT movement, especially in the transgender community.
But he hasn't studied or embraced the mystery. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know, well, I'm sure he knows to a certain degree that the country is disappearing before our very eyes. But the real ramification is the eradication of America, is the eradication of the United States.
He's a poker. He's one of those guys.
Yeah.
He's a troll-like character more. So he just is more interested in poking.
He doesn't do conservative-minded people any favors.
No, you're right. Yep.
Well, most of the conservatives on television don't do conservative-minded people any favors.
Yeah, so then we get the blanket indictment from the left, you know.
Because wasn't he also a big Jan 6 guy, Johnny?
That I
Well,
don't know, Chris. Not sure.
let's not get too far afield. The point of this is this is not surprising to any of us at the University of Garage Logic. This is just a logical next step It's also an outgrowth of these schools hiring so many job titles that have no means to be measured for achievement, but they have to have something to do. So it's obviously the idea of the various vice presidents of diversity, inclusion, belonging, and excellence who say, I have an idea. Let's have different graduations to celebrate the different cultures. And that'll help us further put a nail in the coffin of what used to be the United States of America.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing. And it's happening everywhere.
I typed in cultural graduations.
Yeah.
And I noticed you could, if you're a student, take advantage of this, I think, because NYU, for instance, they have numerous ones, including Black graduation, first generation graduation. So if you're the first in your family, lavender graduation. So if you're LGBTQ,
Right.
So you could take part in 3 graduations, right?
could.
You know who this
Harvard does it. Harvard does it.
You know who this really hurts is those of us, and I'm just going to name us, me and Joe, who don't want to go to 1 graduation, let alone 3.
Right.
Oh, you know who would take advantage of this?
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah.
Think of the spreads. Think of the spreads there. Huh?
Anybody who doesn't invite me is doing me a wonderful favor.
And that includes weddings and
wakes,
showers,
Easter.
all
Don't
of
you have an
it.
Easter party?
Birthdays,
Christmas.
Party, yeah.
Please.
And for this graduation, Gabe probably just wants you to just send a check. You don't have to come.
Nice.
But just send a check, he said.
Nice.
Just send
to
a check.
make that happen, you got a deal. I ain't going
Gabe
to
always been very fond of you those Saturday
I wouldn't
mornings.
know if he knocked at my door.
Hey,
He always tell you as an uncle, Uncle Joe, huh? How's Uncle Joe doing? Is he mad today?
doesn't he just call them deep? Deep pockets?
Yeah, DP. What's up, DP?
Say before we break here, let me correct an error that I made. It's RDO in Fergus Falls. RDO, not Midwest. I just don't want the emails. Thank you.
Copy. John.
Well, as we continue to discuss the disappearing country and the shambles that is becoming, please take care of your belongings and what you're going to leave behind for your family. That has to be undertaken with great care, and it should be undertaken in the hands of professionals at Eckberg Lammers, one of the most well-known law firms in the metro and western Wisconsin. They've been preparing estate plans for more than 70 years. And all you're trying to do, and it's terribly crucial, is you're trying to avoid court. You're trying to minimize taxes and control your wishes for those left behind. You don't want to hand them a mess. You want to have a document there called estate plan with a big arrow pointed to it. Grab this when I'm gone. And then it's all taken care of. And they take care of problems that might involve custody and wills for children. They'll take care of family property squabbles. For snowbirds, they take care of your tax questions. But we're all going to go. It's unfortunate, but it happens. And when you do, you want that comfort of knowing you've left your family in great, great shape. It'll give you peace of mind. It'll give them peace of mind. And don't wait till you're old. This has nothing to do with age. This has everything to do with staying one step ahead of a government that many of us are looking askance at. Make an appointment at Eckberg Lammers at 651-439-2878 or visit Eckberg Lammers at eckberglammers.com.
Or ship out.
Was that a break?
Yes.
Yeah.
You were really bad at that.
I can't tell when we're on or when we're off.
We're on now, Matt.
This damn podcast.
The keeper of common sense.
Well, it won't be long. Hang in there, GLers. Temps in the 40s arriving soon, and that snow on your lawn's going to melt away. And that beautiful lawn you've always dreamed about, just a click away, professionalturf.com. Now, I'm going to admit, some of us GLers a tad bit obsessive about our lawns. If you want the best lawn on the block, go with Professional Turf. They've been around since '82. They have service techs with over 20 years of experience. They service the same routes, so they know your lawn better than you. Matter of fact, when I lived in Minneapolis, my lawn was Pro Turf's problem. I couldn't care less because they were on it and they did all the work. But here's the deal. Pro Turf has a toot sweet policy. if you see something janky or otherwise on your lawn in the middle of the season, you get hold of them and they'll be out toot sweet to rectify it right away. They'll take care of it.
What's toot sweet mean?
Right now, brother.
Toot sweet
right
means
now.
immediately.
Oh.
Yep.
These are the literal translations.
Is that new?
Steve is my guy, Kenny, and he is on point, and I've never had to make a call to say I've got an unsightly weed.
Yep. ProfessionalTurf.com. They'll come out, give you an estimate, and you'll get the best custom slow-release fertilizer and weed control plan you've ever received. Environmentally safe, guaranteed for results. Everything, all the weeds gone.
Pet-friendly.
Yeah. Oh, yes, absolutely. ProfessionalTurf.com.
What is the news you've heard lately about California, particularly involving the snowfall in the high Sierras? What's the general
Climate change.
that, and what else have you heard of people running out of food and
Yep. Getting snowed in, flooding.
Snowed in, and I love GLers. A guy writes me and he says he was cleaning out something. He doesn't save papers, but he came across this. It's the St. Paul Pioneer Press, Saturday, March 5th, 1938.
Okay.
Headline, floods pour over California. There's a picture. Next story over. Flood deaths reach 210. Damage likely to pass 50 million. Planes drop food in mountain areas. It's all happened before.
It's cyclical.
It's all happened before. The atmospheric rivers are not new. 1938, and it wasn't presented to the news consumer as hysteria. It was presented to the news consumer as news.
What day was that?
Yeah.
I mean, what was the actual day?
Saturday.
I bet it was still thick paper.
Saturday, March 5th, 1938. Floods pour over California. Flood deaths reach 210. Damage likely to pass 50 million. Oh, God, what would that be today, I wonder?
I'll check.
And planes drop food in mountain areas. It's exactly what's happening today. And that's, 83 years ago? I did that math at the top of my head. Is that
Pretty
right?
damn good. Somebody better check it.
Isn't that something? It's just fun when the GLers know how to reinforce the old mayor's leanings. I've been struggling with my reaction to what the DFL has done now. They are going to keep and spend the surplus, $17.9 billion. They're adding it to the budget. I think we all knew that.
And you predicted it months ago.
34% increase in spending.
Let me just jump in. $50 million in 1936.
38.
38, okay.
Close enough.
Okay, is worth $1,082 million.
Wow.
The governor, Walz, and legislative leaders, meaning DFL legislative leaders, have announced there's no hiding it. There's no subterfuge. They're just saying this is the way it's going to be. We're growing the government.
The sub-headline, DFL sees spending increase of 34%. This is today's Strib. The sub-headline, Target budget spends all of surplus, includes rebates, GOP can't derail deal,
Right.
which to me translates in my brain, GOP has no say in the matter.
Yeah, well, it isn't even, it's not a deal. A deal
Is something agreed upon.
supposes that
Yes.
two people might have agreed on something.
Right. Yeah.
This isn't a deal. This is the leftists burning through that money as fast as they can. Here's the problem. And again, I don't know who in the state would approve of this. I would imagine the people who most approve of this are people who have no investment in the state. They don't pay property taxes. They don't have a large stake in. Maybe they get money from the government. They don't have a horse. They're not stakeholders.
No.
They're takers.
But you know what this also says, gentlemen? Walz never, on his campaign trail, Walz never left the metro. He doesn't give a damn about outstate Minnesota.
There you go.
And this is just being ramrodded through, whether the state of Minnesota wants it or not, because The population inside the metro is what's controlling government overreach in the state right now.
He went to one like farm expo
and
thing
got shouted down.
And it fled the area like his hair was on fire.
Yep.
Government can work together for the people. We can reach compromises, Walz said during a Tuesday news conference, touting the benefits of democratic control of state government.
Hold on.
We don't know that.
Who did they compromise with?
Well, this is a lie. There is no compromise.
Yeah.
He's lying. We can get our work done on time. Well, yeah, because you don't have anybody that can stop you. We can get our work done on time, and we can deliver a budget that Minnesotans can be proud of.
I'm
not proud of it.
I'm not. You guys?
Because here's the problem. You've just guaranteed that from this point forward until the Earth ends and melts due to climate change, you've guaranteed that the government must always annually replicate that $17.9 billion.
Yep.
You have to come up with it now every year.
And you know where that's going to come from.
That's going to come from higher taxes.
Exactly.
None of the programs they're inventing, none of the programs they fund will go away. They will have to be paid for in perpetuity. You've just increased the size of your budget by $18 billion. And it was a surplus due in no small part to an awakening, finally a waking up after the pandemic and people getting back to work and producing more taxes for the state. Well, do you want another pandemic to come along so you can generate another $17.9 billion when that pandemic goes away? Of course you don't. But you've guaranteed now that the government of Minnesota has grown by $18 billion a year, and that must be provided every year from now until eternity.
Do people realize the long-term ramifications from a business standpoint in the state?
No.
Because it's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. People have predicted that if this does go through, which you had predicted months ago that it would, businesses are going to start leaving this state. It's already started.
It's a 30% increase to the state's current $52 billion budget.
Unheard of.
That's
Unheard of.
criminal.
And they
I
brag
think-
about it.
Yeah, I think a way to say it is it's no longer a $52 billion budget. It's a $69 billion budget when you add the surplus. No, you keep saying I predicted this. That wasn't hard to do.
I know, but the fact that they're getting away with it is
There's no
criminal.
opposition.
It's criminal.
They own the three houses, and they're doing what they said they'd do. They're going to, and they've actually believe Walz is comfortable lying to the people of Minnesota. And Tim, that's what you're doing. You're lying.
Straight up.
Government can work together for the people. No.
You're not.
About half the people in this state would disagree with you. We can reach compromises. You're lying, Tim. You didn't compromise with anybody. This is all the work of the DFL. You didn't compromise with a soul. And you're going to hurt the people you pretend to care about. You're going to hurt them the most.
I mean, look at what we've seen in the short term here in the last, let's say, 12 months. Enrollments down at the U of M, they're begging for more money. The schools are functioning at the lowest level they have in decades in the inner city right now. And all of this is going to continue to get worse.
So much so, Chris, that St. Paul is offering huge hiring bonuses if you'll sign up and be a teacher in the St. Paul district.
Yep.
That's why we need to fund education, Suchi boy.
Fully fund
I'm
education.
getting to that. State public schools would see the biggest funding increase under this agreement.
Well, they've done so well.
They would get $2.2 billion more over the next 2 years, keeping in mind that education accounts for already half the state's budget.
It's becoming more than half. It's creeping up there.
It will be.
Melissa Hortman called the education investment historic. Yes, it is, Melissa. It really is. It's like that Snoop Dogg commercial. It's historic, Lee.
Bad. Whereas he and Andy Samberg are sitting on the beach.
Yeah. Hortman called the education investment historic. The agreement includes a $650 million state funding increase for higher education, $300 million for early childhood education. This is the largest increase in early education, K-12, excuse me, and higher education that I can recall in my time serving in the legislature over the last 20 years, Hortman said, adding the future annual state funding increases for K-12 would be linked to the rate of inflation. There's one problem, Melissa. It hasn't worked. Our overall success rate for education is not anything to be proud of. And I level a lot of that blame, if not most of it, to poor parenting in single-family households, which you might think you're able to do something about, Melissa, but you can't. Your policies are making it too easy to have poorly parented households. They're not tough enough. The other problem is, what can you progressives point to that have improved this state?
Yeah.
Could somebody please tell me how we're better than we were, 25 years ago? Pick a time. Could the city of St. Paul and Minneapolis, given your progressive politics, your regressive, your turds, what can you point to tell me that the cities are better? Are they safer?
No.
Are they prettier?
No.
Are they more well-maintained?
Absolutely not.
Is the infrastructure in tip-top condition?
Nope, it's been neglected.
Are the schools flourishing?
Nope. God, you're running down the whole list here, checklist.
What is better?
Well, and that's what they cite this as. Minnesota's economy is strong.
What is better?
Tolerance?
Nothing.
Tolerance.
Nothing.
Kias are now carjacking proof.
Not yet.
Well, not yet, but they're going to be.
It's we're fighting a lonely fight, guys. It's people voted for Kaoli Her. She doesn't even want women to succeed in athletics, but she's a progressive.
But back to the strategy, Joe, involved with the DFL, much like what the governor chose to do. This is how most top state offices in this state are now going to operate. They're not going to bother with Rochester or they're not going to bother with any of those places. Because all that's going to matter is the Twin Cities Metro.
Democratic Farmer Labor Party. What do they have to do with farming?
Well, they hate it.
Yeah, that's
Rocks
true.
and cows. Mm-hmm. Kaoli Her, that's her name. That's right on brand for a Democrat. Doesn't want females to succeed and thinks it's okay. Let's let the black kids get by with Fs because
Let's make black kids less than.
Yeah,
Let's
we
not
don't
expect anything
we don't
of them.
expect leadership from them. No.
It's a
That's a
despicable
good point,
lot.
Joe. The DFL. Farming. What the hell?
It ain't the DFL of your father's youth.
Yeah. Yeah, the DFL of Kennedy was probably they were all Republicans back then.
State Senate President Bobby Joe Champion, DFL Minneapolis, said the proposed budget framework is balanced and reflects Minnesotans' values. No, it does not.
That is, I know what that is. Hold on.
I guess it just doesn't reflect my values. And if it reflects your values, you've got really lousy values. You are willing.
We just have to get back to those old school values, don't we?
That's right.
I've been saying that for years.
That's straight sidekick in a can nonsense.
If this reflects your values, then you hold it valuable to become a lesser citizen. You hold it to be a value of yours to become a lesser individual. You hold it as a value of yours to let the government replace your own decision making. You hold it as a value of yours that the government will make choices for you. Those are your values. You've abandoned your individuality. You've abandoned your citizenship. You've abandoned your identity. You are more than willing to just shuffle along and let this government grow beyond your recognition, which it will be beyond your recognition. Someday you will wake up and your ox will be gored. Maybe not today, maybe not next year, but if you work, if you own a home and you pay taxes, some of this will begin to get to you. I don't know when, but unfortunately for you and the rest of us, it will be too late by the time this gets to you.
What's the Reagan line?
Oh,
I'm
boy.
here from the government.
And I'm here to help.
And I'm here to help. I'm with the government and I'm here to help.
Yeah, but no, that's part of it.
They're not helping.
Right.
Or the percentage of the population that they're helping, they might need it, but they're not getting better.
We should look up that quote. It's a really good one. Be sure to, yeah.
I think I have
You've got it?
I think I have it here somewhere.
It's an amazing, it's happened so quickly. For the first time in many legislative sessions, they're well on pace to be done when they're supposed to be done. You know why?
Why?
They're not meeting any opposition. They're spending as much money as they possibly can with no opposition. Nothing has been log jammed.
Who was the guy a couple of weeks ago that just went off? A Republican from maybe Red Wing or
Yeah, I remember that.
Rochester?
Yeah, I remember that.
And he finally said what a lot of people are feeling, and he just got chastised and poo-pooed, and they shut him up. You got it, Chris?
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
Yep.
Yeah.
But since that came from Ronald Reagan, that also gets shouted down.
America.
I can't make the kids I used to have. One kid split.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
He would never come back.
Oh, right. Yeah, gotcha.
He gone.
I got 2 others, and I cannot convince them what's coming their way. And they're young enough that they should be worried about it. I'm too old to worry about it. But they have children. Why would you raise them in this state? This state has abandoned any common sense.
I will say this. I don't know how a parent, in my case, I've got 2 young ones, right? I don't know how anyone can look at what's going on with public school in the city and say, that's exactly where I want my kids to get their education.
Somebody will have to turn me around by pointing out to me, what has the left accomplished? What have they improved? How has the left improved your life?
Aside from the continued growth of government, that they've got nailed down.
Government's view of the economy could be summed up in a few short phrases, according to Ronald Reagan. If it moves, tax it. If it keeps moving, regulate it. And if it stops moving, subsidize it.
Mm-hmm. Somebody tell me, there's got to be some lefties listening. You know there are euphorians who love the show.
Yeah. Of course, yes.
But you're not really a euphorian. You're a closet GL, or you're just afraid to admit it to your peer group.
And you hold yourself with integrity, not hating anybody that disagrees with you.
Could somebody please tell me what this is accomplishing?
Well, that's easy. The destruction of the American way of life.
I can't believe that many Minnesotans want the American way of life destroyed.
I don't think they see it.
And by American way of life, I mean personal responsibility and individuality. But what I mean is that you as a citizen are larger than the government. That's what I mean by the American way of life.
1968, Ronald Reagan. We must reject the idea that every time a law is broken, society is guilty rather than the lawbreaker. It's time to restore the American precept that each individual is accountable for his actions.
Did you read about the 4 kids arrested after a police pursuit in Minneapolis yesterday?
Yes.
I need to mention it to get to a point I want to make. 4 teenage boys were arrested after a pursuit and crash yesterday. Started around 3 p.m. when officers responded to a robbery on Chicago Avenue near East 56th Street. A woman said 4 people assaulted her, snatched her purse, and drove away. 15 minutes later, officers were called to another robbery on Longfellow near Cedar Avenue. A 15-year-old girl told police 4 people threatened her and took her phone, then drove off. Police said at 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon, other officers found the suspect vehicle, which was stolen, at Plymouth and Xerxes Avenues at the border of Golden Valley. They tried to stop the car, but the driver took off, leading police on a 16-minute chase back down to the Whittier neighborhood. Minneapolis police say in total, the stolen car hit at least 3 other vehicles. Early on in the pursuit, an officer in a squad car hit another car in North Minneapolis. That driver went to the hospital with minor injuries. No other injuries were reported. Of the 4, I noted that one was 15. Mary Morality will see to it that he serves no time.
You know it.
Honest to God.
Mary Morality will say his brain's not developed. She's your template for fighting transgender issues in schools, the Hennepin County attorney.
Where can I move to?
And meanwhile, she's doing a sleight of hand by patting herself on the back for arresting some meth and drug traffickers. Or not meth, fentanyl.
Yeah, but one of those was 24. And according to Mary Morality, his brain doesn't develop until 25. So of these 4 kids who terrorized 3 different neighborhoods, terrorized very many individuals, threatened the lives of innocent bystanders, one of them for sure will suffer no consequences because he's 15.
Right.
No consequences.
15 going on 25.
Because Mary Morality will take care of it.
Holy man.
Well, he's a child. You know, at 15, he's a child.
Now, I've rhetorically said, what good has the left done? Not only have they not done any good, they've done complete destruction, the likes of which Mary Morality,
Right.
who is a product of the left. Judges are products of the left. Prosecutors are products of the left.
Okay, then why are we not, as GLers, why can we not find out more about judges?
I'm guilty. You just have to do your own homework.
I'm guilty of it. Just check them off.
Well, don't be guilty of it. Do more than that.
Can somebody do that for me and send that in to me, please?
No.
Rookie at
Voting for dummies.
I think he's making an excellent point because you've got to be a private investigator. You've really got to dig.
You got to be Rockford.
Yeah, but a lot of those judges go unopposed anyway.
Right.
How can we change that? How does a judge run? Aren't
We
they
just have to
appointed?
get back to those old school values.
I
don't we?
agree, sir. You're very smart. Wise beyond your years. And wet behind the ears.
I don't know.
Conversation with himself.
Maybe you got to get while the getting is good. You've got graduation coming up. Get to R.F. Moeller Jeweler.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's got to be some brightness in the world. They've been selling love
Get yourself a nice Rolex.
for 71 years.
At all these graduations that you're going to be attending for Gabe, you need to go to Moeller.
Yeah, because he's got his Native American one. He's got his Polish one.
I'm going to ask Moeller what they got for a Polish high school graduation.
Yes.
Hey, you know what? If anybody had anything, it would be Moeller.
That's right.
Ford in Cleveland and St. Paul, 50th in France and Edina. Okay, birthdays, anniversaries, weddings, engagements, graduations.
You should basically just keep all Saturdays in June open, okay?
No, I'm not available. Sterling silver jewelry to fine jewelry with diamonds, sapphires, rubies, and other gemstones. It does make the world a brighter place. It's a fun store to be in. And I'm not the type of person to hang around a jewelry store, but I have hung around inside Moeller's because I know the people. I like the atmosphere. It's colorful.
Yep.
The store at Ford in Cleveland's been remodeled. It's absolutely gorgeous. They have a terribly educated and informed staff, which is good because Mark's usually asleep at his desk and he wouldn't know what's going on.
That's what I was going to say. You hang around so you can just rip into Mark.
Ask for Matt. Ask for Nancy.
They're great
Ask for
people.
Bobby.
This is top drawer. This is top drawer selections. You select your ring. They got a curated collection of rings, and then you have in-house people, artists, and you talk about what kind of ring you want to create.
Perfect.
They do it right there, and everything stays in-house, including repairs. In the unlikely event that anything needed repairing, I love these guys. They've been doing this for more than 70 years. We're on the 3rd generation, started by old man Moeller back in 1951. rfmoeller.com.
Who's going, Kenny?
Yep.
It's the end of the world as we know it, and he feels fine. Joe Souchere.
Just thinking about it, ProTurf and Tri-State Bobcat, they go together like peanut butter and jelly. ProTurf gives you the beautiful lawn all season long, and a Toro zero-turn mower from Tri-State Bobcat makes that lawn look amazing. And along the way, they drastically cut your mowing time. And I'm just going to be honest, they make it fun. It's fun throwing those levers forward and just flying through the grass. Right now, Tri-State has the best pricing on select previous model years, both the Time Cutter and Titan zero-turn mowers. We're talking 42 inches up to 60 inches, discounts from 10 to 20% under the promo pricing. Now, if you obsess about your lawn, a Toro zero-turn will make it perfect. We're talking country club. But unfortunately, winter ain't over. We think it is, but Mother Nature, she's going to do what she's going to do. Tri-State Bobcat can get you into a Toro snowblower during the spring sale. Both the Toro Power Clear single stage and the Power Max two-stage snowblowers, you'll find them at all three locations. Mankeys Outdoor Equipment in Owatonna, and now part of the Tri-State family, so all the pricing promos also available down in O-Town. And make sure you tell them you're a GLer when you swing into any one of the Tri-State locations. Burnsville, Little Canada, and Hudson, Wisconsin. And you can see everything, all the cool Bobcat stuff at tristatebobcat.com.
Here's Johnny Heidt.
Thank you, Joe. This news update brought to you by ProfessionalTurf.com. Well, we'll repeat the story. What the heck, huh? Because we talked about it a lot, but we should mention it again.
It's important, John.
It really is. Democratic Governor Tim Walz and legislative leaders announced that they have agreed to a spending framework that would increase the state's budget by nearly $17.9 billion.
Is that with a B, John?
And,
That's a B.
With a B. And let's see now, the budget surplus was right around $18 billion. Yeah. The budget agreement reached by Walz, House Speaker Melissa Hortman, and Senate Majority Leader Kerry Dietzig, now those, of course, are all Democrats, is notable not only for its size, but for coming just halfway into the legislative session. Usually they wait till right at the end of the session, but as the governor said, they were able to compromise already.
Well, he's lying. There's nobody to compromise with. That money burned a hole in their pocket.
Right.
The increase is about a 20% increase over the current $52 billion budget. State public schools would see the biggest funding increase, $2.2 billion over the next 2 years. There'd be $1 billion for housing, nearly $670 million for a proposed statewide paid family and medical leave program. There will be a rebate for taxpayers. We don't know how much that would be, but past ideas thrown out there by Walz indicate it would be around $1,000 for single taxpayers, $2,000 for couples.
Oh, boy.
Melissa Hortman said the legislature will take action on the Social Security tax, but they were not specific about whether or not they'll fully or partially eliminate that tax.
So, Such, this year I have to pay just under $1,000 to the state. Mm-hmm. They're just going to turn around and give it back? Well,
Yep.
why not just not make me pay?
That makes too much sense.
I mean, it balances out. It's the same thing. God.
Because you've got a lot of people employed in the Department of Revenue, and they have to have something to do.
I am currently on the Star Tribune article on this very topic.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Just scrolling through the old comment section.
And what are they?
It might be a ray of hope because pretty much everyone's mad about this. So I don't.
Well, it makes no sense.
It's laughable.
Well, it's
As
poor
we've talked
fiduciary responsibility.
No,
much more official than what I said.
It's being drunk in Vegas. You already spent your allotted budget. Now you're mortgaging the house on a blackjack game.
That's exactly what
Kenny's right. You've already spent all the money you brought to Vegas, but you got hammered. You tripped over a bag in the men's room, and you opened it up, and there was $18 billion in there, and you rushed back to the table.
Spent every cent.
It's gone in 10 minutes. It's gone in 10
and you're
minutes.
coming out of the bathroom with your pants on. Guys, look what I found!
I found $18 billion more.
Let's gamble some more.
Back to the table.
Don't save it.
No. So anyway, there you go.
So we
There's
got that
story.
going for us, which is nice.
Which is nice.
I shake.
Dozens of community members raised concerns about safety on Metro Transit buses and trains at a
Well, I
public
thought the left
listening
had that
session.
under control.
Oh, it's top drawer, Joe.
I got to add that to my list. Public transportation. Is that better?
Ward 9 City Council member Jason Chavez organized the meeting, which focused on 3 locations: Interstate 35W and Lake Street Station, Chicago
Add to that
Lake
list.
Transit Center, and Lake Street
Just
Midtown
give me
Station.
back paper. You create your own. I'm sorry, John.
okay.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I apologize.
Yeah.
Chavez,
Go ahead, John. I'll be quiet.
Chavez says,
Is that with an I or a T?
my office has received multiple concerns of livability, safety, and support for unhoused neighbors that need a lot of help right now in terms of finding stability. We are here to listen and to learn. He joined Representative Samantha Sensor-Murrah, Minneapolis School Board member Colin Beachy, Trans Equity Council Representative Naomi Badboy, Metro Transit Police Chief Ernest Morales III, and several Metro Transit representatives at the Corcoran Park Recreational Center to hear from the public. About 24 people spoke. Several described a growing drug problem on light rail trains and stations. Mohammed Abdul-Ahad is the executive director of Touch Outreach, a violence interruption group. He said that unidentified smell, those are opioids that's being smoked. That's fentanyl. The last 4 months, my team has responded to over 30 overdoses. 7 of them didn't have a pulse. We brought them all back due to the Narcan training that we all had. Other public safety concerns were raised as well. Last month, a transgender woman suffered a serious head injury when she was assaulted at the Lake Street Midtown Station. The Met Council approved a 2-year, $6 million contract at that point. You might remember we talked about this with a private security team to provide unarmed personnel at 6 stations, including the Lake Street Midtown Station. Chief Morales views the measure as a stopgap to address an immediate need while his department faces an officer shortage. Metro Transit Police have 108 full-time officers, plus another 5 that started training this week. But there are 171 budgeted positions. That means there are more than 60 officers short.
The 10 o'clock news last night, I don't know if it was 5 or 4.
It was WCCO because I was going to ask the same
I
thing.
click a lot.
Yep.
They took their cameras on the train and it's rampant drug use.
Okay,
Rampant.
I'll tell you what I saw today at the airport earlier. The airport police, when the train comes in the tunnel at Terminal 1, are boarding and checking the trains. I did see that this morning. They were stationed down there. When I came up University coming from the airport, there were 2 Metro Transit cops that had stopped right by University in Raymond and were boarding and checking, not letting the train go to see. So at least Metro Transit and Airport PD are responding because it's just getting out of control.
I have a question because I'm old and surly and angry most of the time. These narcotics that they're smoking, where do they come from and how do they get into our country? Go ahead.
Well, they come across the border from Mexico.
And who supplies Mexico with the...
That would be your Chinese.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was nice to see, Rook, that the train actually stopped and didn't T-bone a car going through an intersection.
True. That was
that's a ray of hope.
we're moving
That's a
forward.
ray of hope.
Small baby steps.
I realize that the car might not be 100% at fault, but that driver bears a great deal of responsibility for that because you've got to be blind and not see the train isn't going to stop.
Yep.
Well, wouldn't you just assume it was going to?
No, you can't assume when you're out in
Right, okay.
traffic.
But at
You
that
just can't.
speed, a driver that's engaged would go, that thing's not going to stop.
I got every grandkid convinced that everybody's trying to kill him.
Good.
Yeah. I don't assume cars are going to stop at red lights.
Neither
Chris.
do I.
I,
Neither do I.
I look to make sure.
Did you ever hear that joke? My brother might be coming.
That's right.
County highway workers came upon human remains in a tote that was abandoned along the south shore of Lake Mille Lacs, according to officials. The maintenance workers made the discovery shortly before 2 in the afternoon yesterday north of Anemia, the 14200 block of Twilight Road. Regarding the case and treating it as a homicide, workers told investigators they initially tried to remove the tote from a ditch as part of routine responsibilities. Sheriff Kyle Burton said an arrest has been made, but he is not elaborating on what role that person may have played in the case or any details about whose remains were in the tote. More details of the arrest and investigation are expected later on.
That's an interesting choice of words. What exactly is a tote? Is
Is
it
it
a
a bag or a bin?
I've always thought it was a bin, Don't you? Isn't that
I
how you
don't.
take
I did not
totes?
think of bin.
A tote? I thought of a small bag.
I see as a bag.
Yeah.
A bag. Look up
I'm
tote.
not
Brooke.
sure.
Okay.
Not sure. Residents of Brooklyn Center will soon have one fewer place to shop. The store officials say that the Walmart on Shingle Creek Crossing is closing its doors for good next month. That'll affect 387 workers. According to a spokesperson, the location will close by April 21st, with the pharmacy scheduled to close the same day. The company says the decision was made after a thorough review process because the store hasn't reached financial expectations. The store had been open since 2012. A nearby Target store had closed its doors for good back in 2019. That building is still sitting empty. Brooklyn Center city officials say they learned about the closure Tuesday morning. The city calls the Walmart an anchor store of about 30 smaller shops and restaurants. Serves more than 34,000 shoppers in the area. Brooklyn Center Mayor April Graves says she's concerned about the impact a large empty retail space will have on the community. Anyone who uses the Brooklyn Center store's pharmacy will be able to transfer their prescription to another Walmart location. As for the employees, the retailer says it'll pay all associates through the end of June unless they transfer to another Walmart. After that date, those who don't transfer will get a severance. Walmart spokesperson noted there are 5 other Walmart stores within 13 miles of the one in Brooklyn Center. Overall, the company operates 80 Walmart and Sam's Club stores in the state of Minnesota.
A tote is a bag, can be of various sizes, but it is a soft-sided bag.
Thank you very much.
John, did you cite the actual quote from Walmart as to why they were deciding to close their?
I did, yes. I did.
The reason I said that is because did they just copy and paste that then from both Aldi and Walgreens in that same area? Meaning it's theft. That's why they're closing their stores.
Right.
Yes.
That's what I assumed. Yeah.
Star Tribune reporting the recently revealed leak of radioactive tritium at the Monticello nuclear generating station was the 6th highest recorded among U.S. nuclear power plants. A monitoring well at the site registered a tritium level of 5 million picocuries per liter. According to According to a November 22nd report from the plant, only 5 other plants across the country have ever registered leaks of higher concentrations, according to a 2021 report from the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. Tritium is a mildly radioactive form of hydrogen. It mixes easily into water, but it presents no health risk unless it's ingested. It occurs in nature, but more commonly as a byproduct of nuclear power production. Xcel's been pumping up and collecting contaminated water. It's also pumping to keep the underground plume of tritium from spreading. By last week, the concentration in the monitoring well had decreased to 2.47 million picocuries per liter. Federal limit for tritium drinking is 20,000 picocuries. Luckily, none of this contaminated water has left that site.
The one thing they did that they didn't bring up in that story, and I haven't read yet, is they denied us, Minnesotans. They denied us of the opportunity to freak out and run for our lives. I've been waiting for that all my life. I want to load up, get all the guns, all the ammo, chainsaws, everything, hit the highway, do 130 on the freeway straight out to Wyoming and squat on government land somewhere.
Well, speaking of that, are you boys aware that the news-gathering institutions are adamantly trying to sell us on a new fungus that's spreading at an alarming rate? An alarming rate throughout the country. It's called Candida auris.
Yep.
It's a form of yeast that is usually not harmful to healthy people, but can be a deadly risk for fragile hospital and nursing home patients. It spreads easily and can infect wounds, ears, and the bloodstream.
Is this
They're
major?
superbugs that resist antibiotics.
Or regular? Major?
This is major candida.
Okay. Yeah, major
candida.
Yeah, so we got to watch out now for fungal infections.
Ooh.
Are you a fun guy?
Huh?
Are you a fun guy?
I'm not a fungal guy.
Minneapolis teenager received a prison term of more than 12 years for pulling off 3 armed carjackings in the Twin Cities last spring, including one when he pulled the trigger on a loaded gun aimed at a man who tried to thwart one of the ambushes, but the weapon malfunctioned. 19-year-old Shamir Black was sentenced in U.S. District Court in St. Paul this week after pleading guilty to 1 count of carjacking in connection with the auto theft in early June outside Tony Jaro's bar in northeast Minneapolis. His sentence includes 3 years of court supervision after his 12 12.5-year prison term. As part of the plea agreement, he also admitted to involvement in 2 other armed carjackings in Golden Valley in May of 2022.
How did Mary Morality keep her hands off that one? He's only 19. His brain isn't formed.
But so 3 years when he did pull the trigger, but it malfunctioned.
Right.
It malfunctioned, yes. The guy heard the gun click and nothing happened.
Oh, so there wasn't one in the chamber, probably.
Yeah.
But he should get more than 3 years for doing that.
No. He got 12 years.
Oh, okay.
12 years and then 3 years of 3 years. 3 years after the prison term. 12.5-year prison term and then 3 years.
Got it. I missed that. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. We will have more news after this message, I believe,
When
from
I
Mr. Chris Reavers.
Think about things I'd like to spend my money on. Taxes is not one of them. How about a nice outdoor paver patio, Joe? Huh?
Ooh, I'd like that.
Anderson Brothers Outdoors will take care of you. This is a very, very cool story. It's 2 brothers, Christoph and Justin Gielers. They started their business when they were in junior high school, mowing lawns around the neighborhood, and they kept at it. And they worked hard, and now they have grown into a premier outdoor living business. Anderson Brothers Outdoors is a full design and build outdoor construction company. Whether you are interested in a custom natural wood or composite deck, a paver patio, hardscaping, pools, outdoor kitchens, or maybe you've got something else in mind, they look forward to creating the outdoor space that you, yes, you, desire. They will consult with you to design your dream living space. And here's the cool part. You'll get to take a look at a personalized 3D rendering of the design prior to the project's start. And you have to look at some of their amazing work that they have done. You can go online and visit their website, AndersonBrosOutdoors.com. Anderson Bros, B-R-O-S, outdoors.com. And please book an appointment with them today and let them know you heard about them here on the Garage Logic Podcast.
Cannot stop him. He'll just make a move. Joe Souchere.
Us GLers, we're quite the crowd, aren't we? We love the stuff that keeps our cylinders running top notch. One easy way to keep that engine running strong. We know, Seafoam motor treatment. That cleans the fuel system. It's also an easy way to stay ahead of preventable engine problems and that kind of look out of the side of his eye from your mechanic. Seafoam motor treatment helps everything run better, last longer. It's safe, it's easy, and you can use it in all kinds of cars, trucks, tractors, big engines, small engines. Just pour it in the fuel tank and let Seafoam do all the heavy lifting. You can pick up a can anywhere that automotive products are sold. I've even seen it in grocery stores. A wonderful product in a world of bad gas. Seafoam.
In other news, Russian President Vladimir Putin and his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping have wrapped up their talks. They did not discuss a Kyiv proposed peace plan to end the war in Ukraine during their visit this week, according to Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov. Peskov said that Kyiv's proposal was a matter of Sino-Ukraine relations. Meanwhile, Mike McCall, the chair of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, will hold a hearing next Wednesday on oversight, transparency, and accountability of Ukraine assistance. The acting inspector generals from the State Department, Defense Department, and U.S. Agency for International Development are slated to testify. The dollars in U.S. assistance to Ukraine is expected to come under increased scrutiny by the Republican-led House. 2 school administrators shot at a Denver high school this morning after a handgun was found during a search of a student, according to authorities. The juvenile suspect remained at large. The gun was not immediately recovered following the shooting at East High School, according to Police Chief Ron Thomas. The shooting happened about 10 this morning, an area away from classrooms, as the student was undergoing a daily search as part of a safety plan, according to officials.
Jeez.
One of the administrators was critically injured and is undergoing surgery. The second victim in stable condition. Police know the identity of the suspect. They're confident they would apprehend him. He obviously is armed and dangerous, according to Denver Mayor Michael Hancock, and he is willing to use the weapon. And they're warning the community as they search for the suspect to be careful. Well, former President Trump awaits news on an indictment concerning a payoff to porn star Stormy Daniels. He's getting some more bad legal news. Prosecutors in the special counsel's office have presented preliminary evidence that the former president knowingly and deliberately misled his own attorneys about his retention of those classified materials after leaving office. Top federal judge wrote that Friday in a sealed filing. U.S. Judge Beryl Howell, who on Friday stepped down as the D.C. District Court's chief judge, wrote last week that prosecutors and special counsel Jack Smith's office had made a showing that the former president had committed criminal violations, according to the sources, and that attorney-client privileges invoked by two of his lawyers could therefore be pierced. Actor Dick Van Dyke is recovering from a vehicle crash that happened in Malibu. The single vehicle crash happened on March 15th, according to a spokesperson for the LA County Sheriff's Office. The actor's vehicle apparently slid and he lost control before it crashed into a gate. Arriving officers found Van Dyke behind the wheel of his 2018 Lexus LS500. LA fire officials evaluated the 97-year-old Van Dyke, who reportedly suffered minor injuries, including bleeding from the nose and mouth and possibly a concussion. Crash is under investigation by traffic investigators within the sheriff's department, which is standard protocol. Drugs and alcohol were not a factor, but police have submitted paperwork to the DMV to request the actor to retake his driving test.
I think it's time to take Dad's license.
Yep.
97, yeah.
Licenses for all.
Yep.
San Jose Fire Department's chief is apologizing and recommending discipline for some crew members after video surfaced showing a bikini-clad woman walking out of a fire truck and into a strip club.
Huh.
The chief outlined the details in a memo obtained by NBC Bay Area on Monday after months of pushing for answers since the viral video was posted online. In his final memo to city leaders about the incident, the chief, Robert Sapien Jr., said the conduct by firefighters constituted violation of specific policies and procedures and rules and regulations. Based on this determination and consistent with city and department procedures, the fire chief forwarded a recommendation for disciplinary action to the city manager. That video shows a woman climbing down from fire engine number 4 and walking into the Pink Poodle strip club.
I love it. I like it at strip club.
I wonder what that means, Big Poodle.
It means that's the name of the place.
Okay, gotcha. They got it backwards, these firefighters. When stuff like that happens, that's when you make sure all the cameras are off.
Right.
Because you got to know that this is going to get leaked out.
Can't leave a paper trail.
Johnny, you got one
Yes,
more
sir.
you want to do that you think's important, or are we done?
That's important. I'm already on to the kickers. Well, let's do this one, though. Australia, they have found a new super-sized trapdoor spider.
Everything
Central
in that
Queensland.
country will kill you.
Everything.
The arachnid has been dubbed Europlos dignitas.
Uh-huh.
Dignitas, the name derived from the Latin dignitas, meaning dignity or greatness, reflecting the impressive size and nature of the spider. This spider, which lives in open woodland habitats, can be 1.5 to 2 inches long.
What?
Pretty big spider.
That's a big spider, John.
They can bite you. They're hairy tropical spiders. Their bites can cause pain and swelling in humans. It won't kill you, but it'll hurt. According to Britannica, the spiders construct burrows in the ground and build doors out of their silk. Isn't that interesting?
Just like Dick Prenicky.
The doors are closed and the park.
I'm never going to Australia. Everything there can kill
Everything
you.
there will
Everything.
kill you.
Yeah. They they feed, they have the trapdoor made of silk. Now, this is the interesting part. And when a little bug goes by, they can spring it open,
Oh,
grab
boy.
the bug,
Very
shut,
inventive.
and eat the
Creepy.
It's the 15-hour plane flight is the reason I wouldn't want to go to
Right.
Australia.
I want to send us off into break with this cheerful news. Greta Thunberg has received an honorary theology commendation from the University of Helsinki in Finland.
It's ironic that it's theology. Huh?
It kind of rests the case that to a lot of these fruitcakes, it's a religion. There being no other one for them, so they've settled on this. Honorary theology commendation for that screwball.
Wow.
Isn't that something?
What are they thinking about
I don't know.
in Helsinki?
They are thinking.
They're thinking about what Rook's about to tell me.
They are thinking about smart things to do, helping people out, and being very charitable. You're describing Minnesota Masonic Charities online at mnmasoniccharities.org. And once again, I want to remind you that they do the work of so many people. They're so well connected, and they feature highlight other charities like Crescent Cove. Yes, the other day I said Crescent Grove. I couldn't get over the Crescent part. It's Crescent Cove. It's a wonderful organization that offers care and support to children and young adults with, unfortunately, a shortened life expectancy, and to their families who love them. Around the United States, there are over 4,700 hospice homes for adults, but Crescent Cove Respite and Hospice Home for kids in Minnesota, it's the first and only home designed for children and their unique needs, and just the third of its kind in the United States. Do you see how important that is? It's extremely important. You're talking about children, you're talking about sad stories, and you're talking about families, which is why Minnesota Masonic Charities donates to Crescent Cove, just due to the fact that they're doing great work. And you know what? It's easy to see. When you get the word out, and I'm so glad that Minnesota Masonic Charities are on Garage Logic, getting the word out for the good that they do. If you'd like to learn more about Crescent Cove, go to crescentcove.org, or if you'd like to learn more about Minnesota Masonic Charities, go to mnmasoniccharities.org.
This guy wears many hats, just not indoors. Joe Souchere.
52 years strong in Monticello. We're talking Moon Motorsports, bringing Minnesotans the very best in outdoor recreation, the whole run. Now that spring is here, let's talk snow. Not snow this year. Let's talk about the snow next year and the Polaris Snow Check. Now's that special time of year when you can reserve your 2024 Polaris Dream Sled. The Snow Check process, really, really easy. Call Moon today to get started. Choose the model, the color, the options, and you're well on your way. You've got something to look forward to next year at least. And since we're talking snow here, Moon has all of their snow gear and apparel on sale right now. Save 30% on that snow gear that you've been waiting to buy all winter long. Moon Motorsports, Polaris, Skidoo, Honda, Yamaha, Can-Am, and all the Euro brands. Located right there in Monticello and on the web at moonmotorsports.com. Thank you, Maestro.
if I may apologize, I thought I hit my mute button there, and
No,
I heard Dylan's bump song, and I thought I want to see what key that's in. So I started laying.
I thought you were laying down a track under his ad.
Yeah, it was all right, actually. It worked out. I thought it was cool.
I barely pay attention to you guys. I thought Kenny asked for it.
You should pay more attention.
Well, I knew that I thought it was part of the deal, and then I heard when Johnny said, "Oh, that frickin' Kenny," I knew that was he had
That was the
unmuted
tip-off?
mic. Yeah, I knew.
Hey, emailer Lauren has a pretty good acronym here for TURD. Truly useless regressive Democrat. That's not bad.
That's not bad
Or
at all.
terribly undermining regressive deviants. Or toxic, unscrupulous regressive demons.
Okay, turds.
We're going with regressive, but I don't care if turd is thrown in once in a while.
What was Burt Reynolds?
Turd Ferguson.
Turd Ferguson.
Ferguson.
Turd Ferguson.
Only because they come to us all the way from Marloth Park in Mpumalanga, South Africa, from the traveling Lymans at worldwidewaftage.com. On this day in 1882.
Joe, today is March 22nd.
Well, a guilty verdict was rendered in the impeachment trial of Judge Eugene St. Julian Cox, who had been accused of conducting a trial while drunk. His cause probably was not helped when 10 bartenders were called to testify to his ability to hold liquor. Cox was removed from office, but his allies in the Democratic Party later helped reverse the conviction. On this day in 1908,
322.
They liked him, huh?
Maurice H. Stans was born in Shakopee. He served as Secretary of Commerce under President Nixon. Wasn't he involved in Watergate in some capacity?
Nixon?
Maurice Stans? On this day in 1958, movie producer Mike Todd, who won an Oscar for Around the World in 80 Days in 1956, died in an airplane crash in New Mexico. Todd was born in Minneapolis in 1909 as Avram Hirsch Goldbogen.
I did not know he was
Yes.
here.
That's a delightful movie. Love that movie.
Oh, I loved it too.
80 days, that's fast.
On this day in
So fast.
On this day in 1993, George O. Berry died in Minneapolis. Born in St. Paul, the son of a railroad porter and a domestic worker and a federal meat and poultry inspector by profession, Berry was one of the first African Americans elected to public office in the city, winning a spot on the St. Paul School Board from 1966 to 1973. And during his tenure, he worked for the creation of magnet schools.
Was he Irish?
Yes. I don't know.
You
Finally,
said
on this,
O'Berry.
O was
this
his
is
middle initial.
Middle name, yeah.
Oh. Because I think you said African American.
I did.
That confused me.
Well, don't worry about it.
O'Berry.
On this day in 2002,
Oh, Barry.
I know what you're
Okay, I
thinking.
gotta.
See, that's what's the pathetic part.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm here. I'm in your head.
You're
You
equally
cannot
guilty.
Evict me.
I don't know, Barry.
Rock, I do not know a bleeping Barry. I did not do a column.
On this day in 2002, Governor Ventura signed a law designating the image known as Grace as the official state photograph. The photograph was taken by Swedish-American photographer Eric Enstrom in 1918. It depicted an elderly man bowing his head and giving thanks.
And you know what he was, don't you?
Huh.
He was the local drunk. He paid him to pose.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's it.
Really?
Yeah, it's a
I know
fascinating
he was from
story.
St. Paul.
No.
You know,
I know
where the
that.
streets are all messed up.
No. And I want to say
Irish.
a final note. If you're headed to the Timberwolves game tonight,
Yeah.
if you have any spirit of creativity at all, you'd start heckling Carol Anthony Towns by calling him Willis. Hey, Willis, you going to play tonight, Willis?
Okay.
Willis Reed died, age of 80. Willis Reed severed a muscle in his thigh during the playoffs for the title in 1970 against the Lakers. Bandaged himself up, came out, only scored 4 points, but it so motivated the Knicks, they beat the Lakers for the title. Really a tough guy. Karl Anthony Towns probably wouldn't even know who Willis Reed is. But if you're going to the game, start calling him Willis as a point of irony.
I think it's a bobblehead night tonight, is it not?
Hey, Willis, when are you going to play?
Hey.
Thank you, GLers.
I did look it up, Joe. He was involved in Watergate.
Yeah,
Maurice
I was just
Sands,
going to say
yes.
it. Go ahead, Chris.
Yes.
No,
He just-
Nixon. I did confirm it.
No,
Nixon
but
was
Nixon.
thank you, GLers.
So it stands.
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up, Barry.
You did ask earlier if he was
The
involved.
guy's name was George O. Berry.
Mr. O'Berry, will you be working on the railroad today?
No, it's not. It's his middle. It might have been like George, Orville Berry or something.
Mr. McBerry.
No.
Hello, Mr. McBerry.
No, that's the McFlurry.
And do the railroads, do the lines go up and down when the trains go over them?
No, listen.
I've been wondering all my life, a fortnight.
George O. Berry was his middle initial.
George O'Berry. Sounds like a piece of pie. A George O'Berry. Are you making a George O'Berry pie, Grace? What's your name,
says
Grace?
hi.
Grace was the portrait.
Grace was the guy. He had drunken was. What did I do here? Pod it, man, on your
No
smartphone. GarageLogic.com for the online store, the Garage Logic Town Council, and subscribe on YouTube for the Garage Logic page. It's entertaining. More entertaining than this. See ya, George.
It's true. Some of us GLers fairly obsessive about our lawns. If you want the best lawn in the block, you've got to go with ProfessionalTurf.com, a Minnesota lawn care company since 1982. ProTurf has service techs with over 20 years of, I almost said 70, 20 years of experience that have been servicing the same route. So they get to know your lawn. When I lived in South Minneapolis, I got to tell you, my lawn was ProTurf's problem, but ProTurf has this really cool toot sweet policy, meaning if you see something janky on your lawn in the middle of the season, get a hold of them and they'll be out toot sweet and they'll take care of that. They'll rectify it for you. That's what they do. Schedule a free in-person lawn care analysis and estimate right now at ProfessionalTurf.com. A ProTurf tech will come out once the snow has melted and then customize a slow-release fertilizer and weed control program. Safe and environmentally guaranteed. You'll get a great lawn. Just click away, professionalturf.com.